What's happening, people? Welcome back to All You Can Eat Warriors, and we are back here, guys. We've finally got it after what seems like was another bye. So we've had a bye preseason, now we've got a bye in, and we're finally settling into a couple of run of games. But I'm here with my man Ash. Ash, how you doing? How's the weather? How's everything doing on the east coast of Queensland there, my friend? How you been?
Yeah, a little bit of a crazy weekend, but obviously waiting for that cyclone to hit, and it really, it didn't really disappoint too much either. Like, it brought a lot of rain, brought a lot of wind, and only just getting kind of set back up again. Work started back up on Monday, so get back into work, get back into making money, and obviously a lot of houses still out without power from what I heard. So shout out to all those guys. I'm very grateful at the moment that my power is back on right now. So, but shout out to everyone else that's been affected to the this cyclone Alfred.
Absolutely, GT. Yeah, he has survived, and hopefully wishing everyone else in the area safety as well. But welcome into everyone in the chat: Jazz, Alex, the inspector himself, Clough. Good to see you, my brother, Tans, Tahi, and 5-star, my man, as always. Great to see everyone, and we're really got to start settling in now, guys. And Clough as well. I know he would have probably got hit as well. He's just moved over. Hoping you're well, Clough, that you're safe down there in the GC. But man, good. Yeah, hoping everyone's doing well. Look, guys, just quickly, we are on the road to 2K. We're nearly there, actually. We're around 1925 or something like that. So 75 subscribers short. If we can get that up in the next week or two, we'd love to have you guys become subscribers of the channel. Help us get to 2K. We've had massive growth over the last year and a bit, and we appreciate everyone that's subscribed to us. Help us get to that 2K, but also if you want to become a member, there's packages there to become part of our membership, and get all the benefits that you can from being a member of Wires Up TV. So yeah, hit those likes as well, guys. 50 minimum. We'd always love to. We've been hitting 100 lately, but for everyone that's coming in, hit that like as you enter the door. Cool, man. Hey, Ash, we've had some time to reflect. The team list has dropped. I know a lot of people would have seen it. The question now is, it is the same team. Is that a good thing? Is it a positive? Is it a negative? And what can we expect from those same team? Can we expect same results, or can we expect something different from that? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, knowing, obviously, all of us knowing Webby being here with us for the last couple of years, we do know that he allows players to try to fix up on their wrongs and try to, obviously improve their form themselves over time. And then, if it does get too bad, then obviously there has to be the chopping block. But I kind of do enjoy that we did run out the same team list here. I didn't think we were going to make too many changes. The only one I could ever see happening at the moment, Rocco Berry playing a little bit in New South Wales Cup over the weekend. I could have seen him maybe just pushing in, but right. Probably good to have him back in Cup to get a little bit more fitness there. Obviously, the big talking points there is our same half pairing that we had over in Vegas has been heavily talked about over this period now, whether, we should be running with this halves pairing. I think obviously we talked about at the start of the season, we need to pick and stick. If we're going to stick solid with these guys, stick solid with these guys, and hopefully they can learn the system and pick up in their moments. Like we saw good things in Trolls that allows me to continue to think that Metcalf can be a 7 and, Chanel can play off the back of that. I think that just a little bit more experience in playing, being the big dogs of the club will actually bode them so well for the future anyway. So I'm all good with sticking solid, but I'm definitely, I see a lot of fans out there that are very pulling their hair out a little bit at the moment.
There is a little bit of pressure. Fans have jumped, a majority or a lot of fans have jumped on Webby on the selections. I know people will get riled up seeing Jackson Ford in there. I'm with you though on the halves. Definitely think give them a full opportunity. And that they should be given that time and opportunity to correct, to fix up, to learn. And I think it's quite clear that Boyd at this time and Tamaire will be the Cup halves, but it's good to see. We'll get to that game later on as well. Good to see them play and play well in times. My question for you is, I know Jackson Ford has been getting a lot of stick. My question really is around, is Jackson Ford the problem, or is it how Webby is using Jackson Ford? I think he gets a bit of unfair criticism because of how he is used. I don't think he's a bad player. I think he's been a great player for us, but is it more on Webby or is it more on Jackson in that situation, how he was used in round one?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of things, right? Like I think of just Jackson's period at the Warriors. He had some high moments when he was playing edge back rower, but he also had the stigma of, the high error rate that he started to really get into his game, especially last year. We started to find that playing him on the edge, he had a lot of bad errors and that. Webby ended up pushing him to the right edge, then pushing him, cutting him back to the bench. Remember that Cowboys game, we brought him off the bench into that Cowboys game. He played a really solid game there in the middle. So that's probably what given Webby confidence that he could play Jackson Ford in the middle and he would do a solid enough job. But obviously after the first game of the season, which again, I kind of just sit on like, we got to learn the lessons, right? So if he doesn't do it, we don't know about it. But, he ran out there with Jackson Ford. As I continue to say to people, I understand why he did it and why he did so. I don't think Jacko played a bad game. I did think that he was just used wrongly by Webby, right? But I also understand why Webby tried to go into the game like that, because it's exactly what Ricky Stewart tried to do coming into that game. Both teams looking like they were going to play very direct sort of football and we weren't going to try to play within our shape. We wanted to really knuckle down for the first 20 to 30, and then hopefully when we bring on Aaron Clark and Dylan Walker would blow out the game. But we didn't really account for, obviously, the Raiders blowing up our middles to start with anyway, with their offloading and their high velocity running style. So I think that it's a combination of things, right? I think that Jacko wasn't used to, right? And then when people saw him, hanging out of his ass after 50 minutes there, they also go back to what Jackson used to be as well, with errors and bad missed tackles, stuff like that. So I think he's a guy that's been labelled type of guy, and also the way he used in round one probably mixed together just created a perfect storm for Jackson right now.
It's sometimes coaches can get in the habit of highlighting players' weaknesses by how they use them at times, and we've always been advocates of Jackson as a back rower. Yes, he's had issues. I mean, we had problems with him running lines. He just got he got so many. He was the part of the reason so many disallowed tries at times. So we understand he's not a perfect player, but I do see him at times, using him a bit more effectively across the board. But I think that's a bit harsh to blame him for solely everything. It wasn't just him. It wasn't just him, definitely. Just players. I think a few players are a little bit under the pump, but the likes of a CNK didn't have the greatest performance. Doesn't yet look like he's just lacking a little bit of spark, a little bit of energy. We know his game is built on energy and bringing that attitude and commitment. Just looked a little bit out of place at times. And when you're on the back foot, it's always going to be difficult. Is there a little bit of pressure on him, or what can we see from him in this game in terms of what we should expect from him? Can he get back to those 200 meters, or was it just a blip in Vegas, and that we'll see him back to his normal self?
Yeah, overall, I think that number one, like I think that Chance is being a little bit underappreciated in some sort of sense at the moment still. I think he still brings a good value to the squad overall, especially in that fullback jersey, right? But I do think there is becoming a little bit more pressure now, especially from the fan base. The fans obviously seeing someone like Tane Tuapiki, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck in the lineup, and bringing Roger back to back to the NRL definitely hasn't helped him. Obviously, with all the content creators and the social media and just media in general wanting to see Roger back in that fullback jersey, I think that really pushed a lot of spotlight on Chance, and not people are trying to highlight all the stuff that Chance does do wrong in moments, but don't really look at all the other stuff that he does do right for our lineup as well. I do think that game that he had over in Vegas for me is a blimp on the radar, especially when I see the stats that he's had in previous games before. He does have little things that he does need to fix up in his game. Like I'm always will hold my hands up that sometimes he gets caught up on the opposite side of the ruck. But again, I always say that that's an NRL issue. That's a fullback issue. That's not just a Chance issue. Sometimes he does look like he's, again, a guy that just runs himself ragged and he gets caught out sometimes trying to over chase, and he looks like he's not getting there in time due to obviously him overworking himself in the attacking shape sometimes as well. So there's definitely a spotlight on Chance. There's definitely improvement that he needs to do this year. If he cannot just keep up doing this 86 meter per game, what he had in Vegas, I think that, he should be getting back to what he was consistently last year. I continue to go back to, people don't understand, last year on average, he was the third best running fullback in the competition on average. So people got to understand that he was better than James Tedesco. He was better than Tom Trbojevic. He was better than a lot of those guys in run meters and getting us into the opposite end of the field. And then when we look at all the good stuff that he does, especially on that right-hand shape, he does link it up really, really well. So I think he's underrated. I think give him another couple of weeks, but there is becoming a bit more of a spotlight there. The only other way I can see it changing is for me, the next guy up a cab off the rank would be Tane Tuapiki. That's going to be pushing for that role. But unfortunately, Dallin is out with injury. So that's kind of the situation we're in right now, right?
Oh, yeah. And I think he's a victim. I think the back five in general, and you can go to the halves if you want, a victim of a lack of forward go momentum, Chance can do well when there's good go forward, and much like all the rest of the other players. So he's a bit of a victim of that the forwards haven't quite dominated. I think attack-wise, they're just not quite in sync yet, and I'm looking forward to how he links up with the likes of a Metcalf specifically, even Egan around the ruck, a bit more variety with working those things. So hopefully we see a bit more of that foundation to his game there. But I honestly feel that he's still got it, but he needs a little bit better of a platform. We know he's more of an up and down fullback. We know he's a hard worker, and we appreciate that and know that in this system that's valued. So in essence, that performance in Vegas doesn't match the hard worker kind of role that he's played. So he needs to get back to what he's good at. I'd love to see him in that 150 meters range or 200 up. That would tell me when he's hitting 200s, everyone's having a good game, because Chance his numbers are quite up. But I'd expect them, especially at home and against the Seagulls. I reckon, we'll see. I think we'll see a better performance from him. But I'm looking for a lot of other things, and we'll go into that now. This forward pack has come under a little bit of criticism early, which is, I think, a little bit unfair. I do think we made the mistake of playing forward in terms of getting the synergy of what that nucleus was in preseason, which was JFH, Barnett, and Clark. I think we'll hopefully go back to JFH, Barnett, Clark. But agreed. What can we expect from this forward pack now that we've seen it, and especially coming up against a bit more another kind of physical but bigger size forward pack in terms of the Seagulls? What can we expect from them in your opinion?
Yeah, I've always known the Seagulls forward pack to be very hot and cold. And I don't think it's going to change this year at all. Like, the Manly Seagulls performance over the weekend against the Cowboys was incredible. Like, Manly at 4 Pints, I've been saying it for a long time now. Manly at 4 Pints is a completely different monster. And I think social media's got something to do with that as well, with the Hello Sport boys and their big following of Manly. It looks like their home games has just taken a whole new level. So I think that the forward pack over the weekend obviously played really, really solidly, in that game against the Cowboys. but I would say the Cowboys didn't really give him anything to like fight back on, right? I thought the Cowboys played pretty soft through the middle, in my opinion. Coming into this weekend, it does look like that Takiaho has been dropped out of the lineup due to an injury. So Josh Aloiai comes in. Taniela Paseka is still a big body, but there's moments where Taniela just doesn't know his size and doesn't play up to his size. So they are a forward pack that is fairly hot and cold. I think the one name that we all circle in that Manly forward pack, no matter what, and what makes it look very lethal, is a man called Ola Kawatu. And I think that's the one man out there that's just like, he's a game changer for them. And it's something that we lack in our edge back rollers as well, if we look over to our pack as well. But I think that our front row pairing can definitely take it to their boys. The edge back rollers is a bit more of I would say probably more so swinging to the Manly Seagulls with the big man Ola Kawatu on the edge there. So that's really where I'm looking at. I'm not too worried about Paseka or Aloiai too much, in my opinion.
Yeah. And going into that, I mean, the minutes, which has been a big, I suppose, talking point, and how the bench was used, and how, and saying that Manly can be hot and cold. What would you expect roughly from minutes wise for, how our boys to be used? I mean, we did go with that change of Fish and Barnett, similar time off the field and back on, roughly the same areas of time. Do you expect the same, or is there space to tweak it? Do we need a prop to play it a little bit longer, or is this a matter of trusting the young guys, giving them a bit more time as well?
Yeah, I think that Webby, I think he'll try to continue the whole James Fisher-Harris and Mitch Barnett play out for the first 20, 25, pull them off, and then have that middle period be filtered out with Jackson Ford, Dimitri Vaimuanga, and also Aaron Clark coming back into those changes there too. So Vaimuanga probably won't play the long minutes everyone's hoping for, even overall. But I just think that the way that we should be running, James Fisher-Harris has never been known for a long minute front row forward. If there's any other front row forward we can have that can push out the 35 first minute stint, then bring him off for a little bit, would be Mitch Barnett. But I do like the impact from like front row forwards. When they get through that first 20, they can really leave it out there on the football field, leave an impact. Then when we bring those boys off, we can have those two toilers like, Jackson at the hold down the middle part of the game. And then we can end off the game with that punch of those boys coming back off the back fence as well. I'm not too worried about everyone talking about both our captains coming off the same time or whatever. We got someone like Dylan Walker in the middle of the field that's got an incredible leadership. We got guys like Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, an ex-captain of New Zealand Warriors, to talk about if we're going on captain's challenges and that. I don't think we lose in that sort of sense. I think that if we're looking at just more impact from both our front row forwards, I think they benefit from a 25-minute stint to start the game, bring them off, and then put them back on within another 25 later on in the game, and they'll filter out their 50-minute stints, right?
Yeah, I actually agree with it. I think people we have to move away from this long use of props. It does come to bite you in the long run. Yeah. I thought Webby, I always go back to last year, I thought he stretched out Barnett and AFB a little bit too much. So I agree, stick to your patterns early, and build the capacity of the young guys like Vaimonga and Halasima to a point where they can go a little bit longer and give their rest for the likes of, and use Jackson Ford in the right moments. And when I say are there enough minutes to go around, I think there are. It's just managing at the right times. There are some vulnerabilities. We saw last week against Vegas, we had a good period from, say, 10 minutes to up to 30 minutes, and then we lost our way a little. So bringing some of that impact on around the 30-minute mark or something like that to kind of shore up those middles, especially with the likes of a Travojevic starting to sneak around the ruck around that time. Those are things that I think just a bit more tactical timing of for Webby, of the usage of the guys. And again, when you're putting Jackson Ford on at the right time, it all makes sense. You know what I mean? And then fans start going, "Oh, bro, that was a great interchange. He brought Jackson on there. Jackson shored up that middle. Great job." So I think there's a little bit of pressure on Webby just to get it right, but I think he can. I think he can get it right. Just quickly on Tarns' question here: who takes the captain role when Fish and Barney come off, just in case they need to challenge? Is it RTS? I think it might be Walker, or it could be Egan.
It could be Egan or Walker, one of those two. But I'm sure that one of them will just get the captaincy nod anyway. The referee will just have to take it on that those boys are off the field. So honestly, I don't think that changes too much. I think, like as I said before, we all seen Dylan Walker's leadership now step up to a new level since he's given that role, that long a minute role, and how vital he is for the club. Like I don't see the big difference of having, you know, both Fish and Barnett off the field with he's back on there for captain's challenges overall, especially when we got leaders like Roger Tuivasa-Sheck there. You know, Wade Egan's been at the club for ages, and Chance Nickel-Klokstad's just as much of a leader as any of them as well. So that's my opinion.
Yep. Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. Look, there is a bit of this chatter around the senior players, and it's maybe something to just discuss because I suppose, you know, for someone like New Cordia, this is his third year, and I think, you know, there's a bit of pressure on him. You got a little bit of Kate Well as well. But what are they untouchable, or is there actually a time that they could definitely be dropped? I mean, me and you talked off here about all of the Eels front row or the forward pack got dropped to the New South Wales Cup. Jeremiah Nanai had one bad performance and he's out.
Yeah.
What about some of our guys like a New Cordia, Kate Well? Could we see that happen, or what do you think?
Yeah, there's underlying ones to all those ones there. Like the Parramatta Eels, a brand new head coach, a brand new system. He definitely wants to embed something that we try to do, obviously, in 2023, right? And Jeremiah Nanai getting benched, getting dropped out of the lineup. He's had these issues for a little while now, and I'm sure Todd Payton's just starting to get sick of it. And I think Cowboys fans have been getting sick of it for a long time now, looking at all the Cowboys comment section and stuff like that after games. But with our boys, are they untouchable? No. I kind of don't agree with this whole sentiment that Webby doesn't drop people or anything like that. Like, again, like I look at it last year, like we dropped Kate Well out of lineup when he wasn't playing that well. He obviously came back from injury and we played him off the bench for that long period of time until he actually found his form after Origin. Jackson Ford was a guy last year that we dropped and we moved him everywhere to try and make him work. And then we dropped him out of the lineup when he was in that prop role off the bench. Like, for me, I think there is a role up there if they aren't playing good enough football over time, and there will be a change that will come if these guys don't step up. And I think that for me the spotlight is definitely on our edge back rollers at the moment, and see how they are continuing on, especially with Leka Halasima, Jacob Laban coming up through the ranks. So I do think that there will be a time where it may have to be one of those boys that filter out a lineup, but I think Webby's good enough to make that change. I think it is starting to become a little bit of a stereotype that's under Webby now, that he's just going to pick and stick no matter what. But people got to also understand that's how you build consistency in your lineup. If you chop and change every week, you're not going to have consistency. So I know everyone wants to have that happy middle ground. If someone's not going to play a great game, just drop them out of the lineup. But there's a lot more that goes into play there. Like, for example, if you drop, let's say, like, you know, we want to have Tamate Martin in our lineup, right, over, you know, Chanel Hostavito or Luke Metcalf. Luke's already stepped up and said he's got the confidence to be the number 7. He's gone to the coaching staff and he said he will be the number 7. He's got all the confidence in the world. How's it going to look if we're going to take the 7 off him, put it on to Tamate Martin? His confidence is going to be absolutely wrecked because he wanted to be the 7 this season, especially after one game. He's going to end up having a stink as well to not feel like he's given a proper opportunity in that 7 jersey. So I think that people got to understand too is, like, a lot of these guys, experienced key members, do need time to, you know, obviously fix up their wrongs and see how they go within a decent amount of time. And my whole thing is, it's the same as how I play Supercoach. Just let a couple of games, let us get a little bit of a form guide first before we start making changes with senior players, stuff like that, because a lot of these things can actually hurt your squad more so than actually help it overall, especially with the community and the connection that we're trying to build in the squad.
I mean, a good example of Webby dropping someone was Montoya. It was just unfortunate RTS got injured the following week, so Montoya got bumped straight back up. But yeah, you do start getting in a bit of issues. Dropping people, and especially if, for example, I think Webby's really worried about taking risks on some of the younger guys right now, and Lick is still very young, but Dimitrik is too.
All of them are, bro.
And if they stuff up, then you're going to be crying, "Get me a new quarterback!" And you know, there's that fine balance that you get into a bit of a. And I think Webby got caught on that a little bit last year when he went, when Tamati was doing well and Sean came in and then they chopped around and I just want to give them a little bit more time. Yeah, like if we see a continual drop off from Capewell with barring injuries, then sure, let's look at these things, but give them a little bit more time before we start to get into that space. But I agree. I don't think they're untouchable, but I think they need to be given just a little bit more time again.
Yeah.
Okay. Just quick, this next topic. I just want to kind of give it some context to it. Is there pressure on Webby if we lose? I think I want to and add to that. If it is a big loss, if it is still the same, struggling on attack. Let's say he does throw a forward back in there. Early, is there now pressure on him based off making similar decisions again and not trusting guys? What's your thoughts? Let's just say hypothetically, if we have another bad performance against the Sea Eagles, is there pressure now on Webby? And if that was the case?
Yeah, I think that there's already starting to be a little bit of pressure. I don't know if it's just a loud minority in social media, comment groups, stuff like that around Webby at the moment, which I think is fairly unfair overall. Like, you guys know how much I love Webby, and maybe I'm the more positive type over Webby in general. I don't think he's a great head coach right now, and I think he can grow into a great head coach. In my opinion, I believe that in the future he'll get there. And that's the whole thing, is like, he reminds me of Ivan Cleary when we first had Ivan Cleary, that was learning his role, and it took ups and downs with Ivan Cleary as well before he got us to that grand final in 2011. It wasn't a perfect run. It never was. But I will concede that there will be pressure, like Webby. There will be pressure on any head coach that goes into a season 0-2, and if the team doesn't look any better, the team still has the same symptoms of what they had last year, even though of different people in these roles. But we also got to remember as well is Webby should be given the long term, like the ability to end up growing in these periods and learning from these experiences. I think that, he's proven us he can do great things for us in 2023. 2024, very poor period, but people also going to understand the amount of injuries we dealt with in 2024 and these swing games that we had. Like, if we won 3 more games and there was 6 games that we lost within that 1 to 2 point period there, it's 3 of those games went our way. We're in the top 8 and we had a better points differential than majority of that bottom 8 in general too. So I think that we just need to allow him to have time and just build with what he's got. I understand people get frustrated with his game plan. I understand people get frustrated with seeing someone playing consistent football and just trying to tweak us and taking away what everyone calls the fun aspect of the Warriors. But, people aren't, screaming that the Warriors aren't fun anymore or aren't good to watch anymore. When we smoked the Cowboys last year, 42 to freaking 16 or whatever it was last year, people weren't screaming that when we smoked the Rabbitohs last year, 32 to 6, in a massive, just a blowout for the middle. Like, when we play our football to the proper system and when we play it with the players with the full commitment, it's entertaining football to me in general anyway. A football purist over here in Australia that's grew up watching football since I was a little boy. It's entertaining for me. I used to love the Warriors that used to throw offloads all the time, but unfortunately we were the most inconsistent side in the competition due to that, right? Like, allow the system to build into place and allow the boys to actually play it out to fruition. But back to the question, is he under pressure? Yeah, a little bit. But over time, we allow him to grow and to I feel like it's a little bit of unfair pressure for me in general. Anyway, that's just me. I think I ranted on a little bit there, but
no,
it is what it is.
No, it's perfectly fine. And valid points. I love your comment there about not a great head coach yet. That's a good actual example of understanding the timeframes here. Like, I've got Webby up until personally 2027. And even that game on Sunday, last Sunday at Vegas, it really tested my faith, just from a feelings. And then once I dropped down, I'm back into, the raw emotions of that game was it did hit me. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to be, but when I look at it overall, I think, he does need that time to have it. I mean, I go back to Ivan's era, and there's a lot of similarities to Ivan. He struggled some years, and then he kind of finally got around to it. He came across some amazing talent that no one knew about in Maloney, and SJ, rookie year from him, that was one of the best of all time, barring probably Cherry Evans, who won that final. Then you got, he had the talent that he had. So I think there's a little bit of everything. I honestly feel as though, again, I'm going to put the pressure back more on the backroom staff, on Cameron George. You could say that they had the money for $1 million. Yeah, we've kind of been more of the development phase, but there could have been a few more moves they could have made to maybe help out. But I think ultimately we just need to give it some time. And if it is a bad loss, look, like it's gonna hurt, but we need to understand the bigger picture of this. Yeah, I don't think we need to look at chopping and changing head coach. We have a bad record once we get into that pattern, and they're horrible coaches, guys. Let's be honest with ourselves. Elliott came in, Bluey, Cappy. Do we trust that this? Look, I think Cameron George and that lucked into Webby a little bit.
100%.
And that's where I actually give Webby a lot of the credit for getting out of the best out of that 23-3 season. Let's not get too rushed into making these, getting a new coach, unless it's Bellamy or, whoever. But, yeah, I think we just need to sit patient
I think the craze, it's overall, it's just taking context. And I think when people think emotionally, because obviously they just see a game and they see this thing, they throw context all the way out the window and they look at what's going on there, right? But people got to also take in context overall of what Webby jumped into at the New Zealand organisation that we had at that point, just coming out of COVID. We were broken. We were in shatters. We had no development system at that point. And for the people that call it, again, I don't want to keep shouting out at that, but there was a reason why the fans came back and started up the Wires movement. There was a reason last year we sold out, our Mount Smart Go Media Stadium, week in, week out, no matter what. It's because of what we were building, right? And I still think we're in that phase of building. This year, we all knew this was going to be an up and down year. We all knew it. And it's just crazy. I think all Warriors fans, obviously, when it comes into the season, they wanted us to obviously destroy the Raiders. So every commentator, every social media guy would come out there and be like, oh, look, I thought the Warriors were wooden spooners, but they're not wooden spooners. But guess what? We are one of those sides that are fighting for a top 8 spot. We're not fighting for a premiership this year. And it's going to take a little bit before we do fight for a premiership, right? Do we have the cattle for a premiership right now? Do we have a number 1, number 2 halfback in the competition right now?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Do we need a number 1, number 2 halfback in the competition to make a top 8 spot? I don't believe so. So we have an opportunity to make a top 8. It's going to be an up and down season. But if we're going to look at premierships, if people are going to look at it as the winning premierships overall, we need to have a Nathan Cleary. We need to have, you look at the halfbacks that have won it for the last, 6 years go back. It hasn't been any different since Nathan Cleary or Jerome Hughes. Tell me another halfback or any other club that's done it other than those guys. So
it's allow this club to this grow. Year. It's looking scary 100%. Right now. It might be just Cleary and Hughes again, bro.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right, bro. That's the thing. It's and tell me another club that's won a premiership in that period, another coach that has looked the better out of all those periods, right? I don't see anyone on the scrap heap at the moment as a coach that I'm looking at going, yeah, bring him in because Webby's not doing a good enough job, for me, in my opinion.
Yeah, and there's some good shouts in here for getting a mentor. I'm not afraid of those. I remember when Cleary had John Hart for that season, and that worked well for us. No doubt a lot of that stuff happens in the back rooms, and maybe we need more of that. Maybe we need to build more around it. Agar's gone off the boil. Bro, go get someone that's good at attacking and maybe just a different voice in the ear. Maybe Stacey's gone a little bit long in the tooth in terms of voices around Webby. Maybe Webby's isolated and he's got Agar choking people in the corner. He's got Stacey, working on his Kiwi stuff. Maybe we just need some other voices to support Webby. That's something where I think we should look at right now.
We're not an easy club, bro. We're not an easy club to steer around. We aren't. We never have been, and we probably it's going to take time before we do become a club that's easy to steer around. And if you think about it too, again, going back to 2023, he got that position from our bottom 2 position of 2022. He got that to a top 4 side, right? 2024, he had to deal with Adam Fanor-Blake leaving, wanting to leave. Josh Curran leaving the club. A lot of talk around a lot of other players leaving the club. Coming to 2025 right now, guys, we have lost Sean Johnson, a halfback that has been around for us for how long? We had Tohu Harris leave us to start the season. Adam Fanor-Blake leave us. And tell me another coach in the competition that has to deal with that coming to this year, especially with a club that's notoriously known to be a hot and cold club. So the stereotype between everyone is that we're going to be an up and down team week in, week out, right? Last year, we had one of our worst injury periods that we've ever seen, honestly. And it's like, for me, it's just like, guys, just give him time, please. We don't give anyone time at this club. We really don't.
Great point, bro. And yep, we need patience. I like what the bro said up here that hiring Kidwell for coach will do improve. No, but the memes will be, Kidwell will come up, so up the wires will go. It will go out the door. Be the key is in the wing, bro. It will come. Honestly, bro, up the wires is, forget about up the wires, bro. It will change completely. But
That's
bro,
crazy.
it's a great argument, and and look, people. I always say this too. Don't always focus on Webby. Focus on the higher ups. Focus
Yeah.
on Cameron George. Focus on Robbo. Yes, Robbo's done amazing stuff. But there needs to be some pressure on them to get good deals done. I mean, Fisher Harris is great, but they were easy ones. These were guys that wanted to come home.
Yep.
These were, Aaron Clark wanted to come home. Can you get the little ones like the Sam Healey's are good, more of that type of stuff, smart signings, and then that natural progression of the development coming in strong. Like, let's not waste. Like I say, I always talk about Bishop Neal. Don't just use him as a battering ram because he's an amazing athlete.
Exactly.
Develop him young now, so when it comes 2027 or 28, he's ready to hit the ground running. So there's pressure in all parts of our club. Look, our club's it's great. Our club has grown 5 times its capacity in the last three years, which is huge for us. Us fans love it. We get to watch Warriors development on the weekends. We've got the women's coming up with a coach who's won the title twice. We've got, there's good things happening, but that we just need to get those things right to help the first grade. But there's everything. Everyone needs to play their part. So, yeah, I totally agree with you, brother. And patience is key. It's not going to happen overnight. Lexi, appreciate you, man. And then, yeah. But there's just wanted to chuck that out there to calm the people, because those chats are happening right now. I'm like, wow, bro, guys, do you remember where we came from?
Yeah,
do you remember where we came from
before?
I know
what we had before.
Yeah.
People
and
don't understand.
Like I'm cracking up. I mean, Politis is still getting Molo. Like Sydney, it's just, if we were a Sydney club, it'd be so easy to get players. Like, seriously, we could get players, like decent veterans all the time. We're a tough club to attract. So that's part of the challenge. But we've got to be patient. But great.
And also the last thing too is like people scream on the juniors and they want to see the juniors so quickly and all that. But people got to also understand is like, this is how good football clubs bode in their juniors. Like, the Melbourne Storm don't just chuck in their junior, in there, and then they just keep them in there for the rest of the year. They ease them in, they ease them in time, and they allow them to grow into that position. Webby is just allowing these kids to get 20 minutes at a time, learn first grade, get in touch with first grade. You will get into that stage in time. And what people got to understand as well, Vai Moanga, Lek Alasima, Jacob Laban were all part of that COVID period, development period, right? They had chopping and changing throughout all their development period coming up through the grade. This is the first time they're starting to get consistent football, and Webby's put them 2 weeks in a row off the bench. So it's already showing that we are looking to ease these kids into that first grade spot. And Jacob Laban will get that role as well. He did last year. He had opportunities last year. Allow these kids to grow. They will find their spot, but we also got to run our course with some of the experiences members that we do have in a squad at the moment. Like I saw a Roosters comment. The Roosters are shot with the amount of injuries that they have to play these kids out there. They don't want to. They never wanted to be in this position, but they had to. We're in a position at the moment where we have experienced members that are allowed these kids to ease in and to have their best opportunity at first grade. I think that's the biggest thing that people have got to understand. And also understand, Lekker's had him 25 minutes last week. That's incredible. Most kids get 15 minutes at the end of a game. So think of it that way too.
Tarns is calling for Yash to get in the booth, mate. Get in there. Get in. You need to get into coaching, man. Maybe you need to get in the mentorship, bro. Ash to replace Stacey. Bro, Agar's nearly out the door, bro. Why not get Ash in there right now? I'm sweet.
Oh, no way, bro. No way.
Come on.
We got two good footy minds in there, brother. I'm sure they know a lot more than me, for sure.
No, good. Hey, guys, we've got 90 people in the building. Appreciate you guys hitting with us. Can you just hit that like quickly? We want to get up to minimum 50 and then on the way to 100. So hit that like. And, guys, we're on the road to 2K. Massive year for us. year and a half so far. We're nearly at 2K. It's crazy. Can you help us get at 2K? If you haven't subscribed, just hit that subscribe, guys. We appreciate you guys very much so. Levon James saying, Kidwell, get in the car to follow the Waz. Bro, Kidwell would be crazy, bro. I swear if he came here up the Waz, it'd be something so different, bro. Memes would be coming out. Oh, bro.
That would be hectic, bro.
He'd be content gold or Kidwell, bro. I swear if he was here. Could you imagine if Kidwell was the Kiwi coach now when TikTok was like, oh, bro, Kiwis would be getting lit up crazy, bro. Like 2015 was like still like, it was still in its infancy in terms of that type of social media. But man, if he was our coach now, bro, it would be crazy.
The social media would be going mental right now, bro, because like how social media has taken over everyone's thoughts of football right now. Bro. Like, it's on a different level, right? Yeah, no, it's crazy, bro. And I got a guy on a ski mask on TikTok giving some of the funniest content. You know that guy, old Saint, whatever his name. People in the chat will know who he is. Yeah, he's pretty crack up, man. He's a hard Warriors fan too. He's out the gate, bro. He's out the gate, that fella. Okay, let's go now to Manly. Amazing start. Again at 4 points. We talk about all the elements, but Seibold looking to do. He's kind of settled in with his role there. He's got a good playing group. Far out. He's got a talent in every department. Jazzy T, the board bro. He's done pretty well considering, 100%. and looks. Credit to Jazz. He's looking well and looking good amongst a good team. But what have you made of the performance from Manly? Just quickly, thank you, Norpita, for the $2.99. We appreciate that, man. We appreciate everyone that supports the channel, and thank you very much. Truly appreciate it. But yeah, what's your thoughts on Manly so far? And it's only early days, but yeah. Yeah, round one, they look like Manly, for what Manly were last year. And then maybe they added on top of that. We're waiting to see how they continue to bode for, round 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the thing with Manly is, Manly at 4 points, I continue to go back at it, guys. Manly at 4 points is a different breed. And seeing what they produce over the weekend is what they can produce if, things go their way 100% of the time, right? And I think the Cowboys didn't really give them any sort of friction in that matchup at all. And I think that, Manly just off the top, when you got strike players like Tom Trbojevic, DCE, Lehigh Boate's coming through the grade now and looking absolutely mental. He's a kid that's got a ton of talent right now. They got Gola, they got Garrick, they got Jason Saab. Ola Kawatu is probably the big one there as well. So looked incredible over the weekend. It's definitely going to be a game that we're all going to be very, very nervous coming into because Manly have the ability to put points on the board. But coming into this game, if we can really control the field position sort of battle, which we have done fairly well in the past, right? I think we're one of the better sides for doing that. And just try to keep that forward pack intact. Ola Kawatu is going to have his moments, but everything else on the back of that, I think we can control a lot of those other guys that are around the pack. It's just Ola Kawatu is just a one big member that I'm just like, it's going to be a big day for someone out there because he's in some type of form. So I think Manly, they just look like Manly of last year for me. It's going to take me a little bit before I start looking at them as they're a premiership threat this year, but I thought at the starting of this year, they were going to be a top 4 threat because I think just the attacking ability across the park and the amount of 4 points games they have this year is on a different level. Yeah.
Just again, Norpita, thank you again for adding an extra $2.99. The key is in the way. It sure is, man. That will never be forgotten, brother.
I'm sure you put that in as a normal comment too. That's great. Thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Hey, we'll re-highlight that for you again. Even though that's probably one of the worst things I've ever heard in my life. The Kiwis after that just became a meme, bro. It was desperately sad times at that time. But back to what you're saying, they're looking really good. I don't take too much. Well, I don't. What I take from the Cowboys game is that if you give them field position and everything, they will destroy. They will take whatever you give up. So I totally agree. This is a big game. I think the kicking game is going to be real important here. I think Metcalf and CHT, if they can get a good kicking game, and then really defending off that kick is going to be important. I noticed Manly like those early shifts left. They like to build these sets going left early and then coming back through the middle and then You know, if you give them too many penalties and 6 games, they will punish. They'll hit that right side. You know, they'll Olukwatu will have his moment, like you said, Ash. Absolutely. Tommy will have his moments, but I think if we stay intact, that's right. You're bang on there. Defensively, if we can keep the pressure on, I think we'll have a much better game. But yeah, they are looking pretty good. Anyone else that kind of concerns you from them? DCE is always one that always has a great game at Mount Smart, no matter what. For me, anyone else you're kind of thinking about their forward pack? Do you think they will? You talked about it earlier on about them kind of being hit and miss. Do you think there'll be a bit more missed? And how do we kind of physically control? Turn a guy like Paseka in terms of like he can be that great guy, but maybe we change him and make it feel like he doesn't want to have a big night out. So, what do you think we can do?
Yeah, 100%. I think players, obviously, to finish off, players that we're worried about, obviously the big name there is Tom Trbojevic, playing off the back of what he had last week, and especially if he's going injury-free into the season, he is going to be a handful no matter what. Whenever we go up against him, he's always having really big moments. And DC, as you touched on before, the experienced halfback out there, that's, he's probably the top 3 halfback in the competition right now, maybe 2, Jerome Hughes is 2, probably 3rd best in the competition right now. So he's an absolute freak, right? So I think the best way to deal with Manly overall is exactly how we play our football. Like people probably got to understand is last week, going back on stats, we dominated the tackle in opposition in 20 overall stats. So we are so good at getting down the opposite end of the field and having opportunities to strike on their line. But the opposite effect to that is we don't allow teams to get on our line as much as what people think we do. Obviously, we concede tries when they get on our line. That's the worry we need to fix up on. But we are quite good at limiting sides into field position battles, and we end up winning field position battles. So with me, Manly do love to attack out of their own end, especially when they feel like they've been pinned down. But that's where errors can come into the game. And especially, I would rather Olukwatu try to attack from the back end of the field than actually on our try line. Olukwatu, when he becomes really dangerous, is in that 30-meter period onto your try line. He's a fast-running edge-back rower. He's got a beautiful skill set. But if he's attacking about 30 meters off their line, we're already doing something right because their back line's not firing, getting them out of their own end. And if they start slinging the ball sideways, there's opportunities for errors. Then it also goes back onto us just trying to attack off those errors overall. So the game plan for me is obviously just do what we usually do really well, but do it at a higher click. Play the system the way it's supposed to be played, but do it better. That's the biggest thing overall. We got to uptick in those areas. And with our halves, when you get an opportunity, start laying platforms, start laying, onto posts and then playing off the back of that. I think that's the best way we can beat Manly. If we allow Manly to get good field position and to strike and just, line breaks left, right and center, we've already lost the battle overall with Manly. So I think that's the best way we can deal with them.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's, field position is going to be real key. That's why I say the kicking game is important here and getting them into errors. Look, we got to capitalize on opportunities. I think goal line attack needs to be seriously looked at in terms of getting the right angles, we haven't got the AFB, and that's understandable. We need more points of attack. How can we use those guys more effectively? A New Cordier, I mean, I look at it in the Melbourne Storm where we really use New Cordier quite well on that edge, working with Metcalf where they went short sometimes, they went underneath. I know New Cordier dropped a short ball in Vegas, and so I think just go to the right a little bit more, like express a little bit more attack down that side. Don't always go left currently. And how do you get guys like RTS involved, broken play? How can you use Tuopiki, get him in good spots, to attack? So there's a lot of things I'm thinking like, we need to really, just maximize opportunities. But do not give up too much ball. It can be dangerous. And just keeping consistent on when they're coming out of yards, because they will try to stretch it. DCE is a gambler, bro. He loves, and DCE too, just for Metcalf and CS, be careful of that cutout pass. He was just jumping at everything. He was jumping at everything against Cowboys, but use that. Dummy and go, or play short, those types of things, because he's loving himself right now on DCE.
I think the best thing too, if we're going to attack the Manly Seagulls, and it's been a sore point defensively that didn't really get touched on too much in the Cowboys game because they didn't have any ball to really play off the back of until the end of the game. And really, for me, if we're going to get ourselves in good field position, I want us to slay on that right post and really play that open shift on the left-hand side. But we need to either, put DC on an island, so separate him away from Olakau'atu because Olakau'atu's his bodyguard, obviously. DC one-on-one defensively, he can have good moments, but he could also have some shockers in him as well. He can really misread plays. And then the other one that I've always looked at, and he has a terrible missed tackle stat, Ruben Garrick is someone that we can tee up on. So I'm hoping with Luke Metcalf, the only thing with him is Luke can really get into that, like he had that moment with Xavier Savage to sling that real big long ball that Savage ate up and took to the house. Saab's got that ability as well. Hit Pompey short. Allow Pompey to build a game against someone like Ruben Garrick. He's a bigger body than Ruben. I think they can get some footwork around him. I think that will end up helping Roger Tuivasa-Sheck have more space on that outside if Sabi's going to have to contend with helping out Garrick defensively as well. So that's the area I want to see us attack, is lay that right post. And if we're going to play on that side, we've got to really get Capewell either one-on-one there with DC or get Pompey in between those two boys of DC and Ruben Garrick. That's definitely the point that I want to see us attack.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. We need just to be more clinical. Attack weaknesses, Attack weaknesses. There are weaknesses on that field. I totally agree with you. Hey, Levon James, my man, thanks for becoming a YouTube mentor. This is a good friend of mine, and since I've been doing content, it's great to have him on board. But always keep in touch with him, and this is actually my namesake. Actually, if there's a long story behind that, but it's good to see my bro here, and welcome in, bro. Great to have you on the team, and hear your thoughts as well. Like the stream, people appreciate the work. Hey, and like Fanatics, go to Fanatics as well for his work that he's 100%. Doing. Give everyone a like as well. Okay, guys, we're going to hit that combined 17. So, excuse me, everyone in the chat. If I don't bring up your comments, I'm going to be dropping in and out of the other page. But we're going to do the combined 17 now. We'll get into that. So we'll just transition over. Okay, guys, I've changed it up this year. I thought I learned a little bit about fantasy, so we'll just build the team this way. But let's start anyway, as we always do. Fullback. I'll start with the left wing because then I'll lay it out so that it comes, because when I press it in, it doesn't put them in order. So left wing, who we got? We got RTS, I think, versus Lehigh Hopoate. Good little matchup there. Lehigh's a good little gun player, isn't he? And he's, I like him. I loved him in Tonga too when he played. Very got nice intangibles, nice flow to his game. A player that's just got a nice running style, and they just seem to fall in the right spots. There's just been so many of those players in rugby league that are just naturally gifted, and they just get the game. Agreed. It doesn't look awkward for them. And Lehigh is one of those guys for me when I see him play. Then you've got the RTS, who's got the yardage. I mean, RTS, I think, had the most yards for us. Scored a try. He's starting to get his rhythm going. Who would you go with in this current situation in terms of the wing option there?
And also, when we preface this too, guys, RTS will not be coming up against Lehigh on the field. He'll be coming up against Jason Saab. Going off left winger versus left winger in that sort of sense as well. So I want to preface that first of all. I would only just sway to RTS over experience and the way he's been, especially coming to the season. I predict that he's going to have a great season, especially run meterage. He's, got a lot of ability in that sense. But it's only just now. Lehigh, he's stepped up his game so much within a short period of time. Again, as you said, he's a natural footballer. His best position for me is at fullback, which most would obviously say with Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. But I think with Roger over age, moving to the wing helps him a lot in his ability, so he can focus on run meterage, which he does a lot better than majority of the wingers in the competition. So that's what sways me to Roger. Is more experience, the run meterage, the statistical side of things. But Lehigh is an incredible talent for the future, so I want that to be prefaced as well.
Yeah, I'll go with Roger as well. I think Lehigh is a future talent, and Lehigh could have a massive game if they get a ton of the ball. I think he's good in his finishing, good in his positional play. But I'll probably say at home, Roger will get that one. So we'll add him in there.
Get him in, baby.
There we go there. Okay, fullbacks. CNK versus Tommy Travojevic. Who have you got in that battle there, mate?
This one, there's a big distance between the two. It's Tom Trbojevic, and Tom Trbojevic, fit and healthy, is the best fullback in the competition for me. If he was fit and healthy all the way through, I think he'd be the Blues fullback right now. I think he'd be the Australian fullback. But due to the injuries that he's had, unfortunately, he's been in and out, and they've had to find other positions for him. But a fit and firing Tom Trbojevic is absolutely incredible, and he at times is unstoppable. So I'm going Tommy Turbo.
Gonna have to go CNK. Hey, bro, you gotta get your membership. Take your membership back, bro. That's gold, bro.
You love to see it.
I love to see it, bro. Yeah, it's just it's good for rugby league to see Tommy. I mean, hoping he doesn't have a big game for us against us. But look, he's looking good again. He's looking well. He was massive in that blooming Pacific Championships. Just terrorized. The Kiwis and the Tongans, and I think definitely that's quite an easy one there. We 100%. Have now Taine versus Garrick, I think it is. Yes. Oh no, Garrick's in the centers. Sabi.
Taine versus Saab. Yeah.
Taine versus Saab. I think we're going Saab there. Or what's your call there, Ash?
Yeah, I'm going Jason Saab here. This is obviously just on the back of Sabi's speed, his finishing ability. I do think he gets a little bit more stick at the moment, which is really unfortunate, especially around Manly fan bases. Obviously, they want to fit in all the best stars that they've got, and Jason Saab's name always gets pulled up to get pulled out. But I'm sure there's a lot of fan bases would love to have Jason Saab on their wing, especially with that speed to burn. And his pairing with Tom Trbojevic is something to be seen. As soon as Tommy is freeing and he lays on that beautiful ball to Jason Saab, Tommy's back on the inside for Sabi. It's a deadly duo. So go on Jason Saab.
Yeah, and for RTS, you just got to be very, very careful.
Yes,
and Saab, he's just again, watch those short side raids, watch everything. Because they will attack. They'll if you give them the space and time, they will figure you out.
And you know what, bro? Not to do it. I don't want to put shade on Marcelo and that, and I think a lot of people would agree. But I do feel a little bit more safer with Roger there. It feels just the same pairing we've seen, obviously, with Bumpy and Marcelo Montoya in the past. It was a little bit of a worry too much, and obviously a lot of people would be worried about Bumpy's positioning in that center role, especially coming against those two. But I think Roger's experience on that edge probably helps him a lot more there. So I feel a little bit more comfortable with Roger on that wing to hopefully defend on Jason.
Yep. No, fair enough. Okay, we're going centers now. Left center, Pompey versus who is it? Kohler, maybe. Yeah. Got to go Kohler there for me.
Totally agree.
Yeah, just too potent and potential wise. I love Pompey. We all respect Pompey, but in this certain situation, Kohler and the speed and all those things, especially centers. Centers today, they need to have that express speed as well. And he's one of those players that,
I was really curious. I was curious on how Manly were going to run this season, if they were going to hold on to having Tommy Talau on the wing and push Lehigh Boade to a centre. If Kohler was going to get dropped out of that lineup, I was be like, shoot whatever contract you can over to Kohler. Obviously within, we don't want to kill our salary cap, but he's a guy that I really enjoy, and I think he's definitely a big talent for the future in that centre position.
Absolutely. Okay, now we're going over to right centre. It is Leotoa versus Garrick. Garrick's obviously got that experience. Leotoa more of a raw talent. I'm going to go Garrick here, but is there an argument for Leotoa even in this infancy of his career?
I say there's a slight argument to Ali, more the fact of Garrick, for me, has played his best football on the wing, and I enjoy him more so as a winger. but he's still, for me, the more experienced center. Ali's still obviously growing into his game. So Ali in the future, I think will overtake Garrick in the future over time, right? But currently right now, I've got to go with the experience and the guy that has got incredible goal kicking, incredibly good attacking potential in Ruben Garrick. So I'm going Ruben Garrick there.
Yeah. There he goes, your back five, guys. As we can tell, it's very Manly dominated right at the moment. But we're going to get into the halves now. At 6, it is CHT versus Luke Brooks. I've got to go Brooks at this current stage. He looked great. He looked good. He's obviously gelled and worked well in the system there. I'm happy for him. As you know, I think he suffered there a lot of the time in Tigerland. But he's looking a lot better. He's a lot more aggressive, very still strong physically, but yeah, just current in form. And I got to go with Brooks. Would you say the same, Ash, in terms of?
Yeah, 100%. Out of that matchup, I would go Lukey Brooks. The only way I'll change our combined lineup here is if I was to push Luke Metcalf to the 6 role, and I'll put him in 6 and have DC in the 7. But yeah, Lukey Brooks, out of that matchup there, him and Chanel, unfortunately, I think the experience, and he's just showed a lot more better consistent ability than Chanel at the moment. Maybe Chanel can grow in over time. So I'm going Lukey Brooks.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Now in the halves, the halfback position, Luke Metcalf versus DCE. I think it's, Metcalf obviously first year in. I know he's 25, but technically he's still in his infant years. DCE on the back end of his career is still playing well. Got to go DCE here in this situation. Yep.
Agreed. I think this one is again, we're talking about a top 3 halfback in a competition, just like Tom Trbojevic is, one of the best fullbacks. DC is one of the best halfbacks. So that's what Manly have at the moment, and incredible weapons in our arsenal.
Yeah, I mean that rounds out you guys, your back line. Yes, it is Manly dominant, but mate, if we pull this one off, far out, it'd be a great scalp to get. But based on obviously talent currently, that's the situation here. We're going to move into the front row.
Yep.
So we'll go now to our props. Is JFH versus Paseka. What have you got there, Ash?
There's night and day difference, bro. It's JFH. Is one of the most, if not the most accomplished prop in the competition right now. Definitely is the most accomplished prop in the competition right now. He's definitely going to take a little bit of time before we see the full fruits of his labor within this Warriors jersey. But I'm sure that he's going to step it up this week, especially after being embarrassed the way they did over in Vegas. I think he's going to be the key leader for us in this game here.
No, absolutely. Good shot there. I think he's got a great. He's going to go great at home. I think once he gets at home and the guy's a little bit settled, we'll see even more dominance. I thought he was great in Vegas individually.
I did too. Yeah.
And I don't think there was much to blame from him in that situation. Okay, let's go now to. I'll just chuck in the lock there if that's all right. So that it flows better. I like to have my props on the outside of the lock there.
Yeah, I agree.
So Aaron Clark versus Jakey Trbojevic. Jakey for me, but Aaron's in his early days with us, and I just hope Aaron has a good physical battle with Jakey. You got to go Jakey there, I'd say.
Yeah, I got to go Jakey, more of the experience, more of the leadership that he's had. He's obviously got the best tackle technique that we've seen in rugby league at the moment.
Oh, bro, yeah.
But you're 100% right. Aaron Clark is still in his infancy in that role, especially for the Warriors. Like the Titans played him in multiple different positions before coming over to us. So he's going to take time, but I've seen a lot of good ability out of Aaron. But got to go Jakey there, representative player.
Yep. Okay, now let's go to the other side. We have Mitchie B versus Josh Aloiai. Night and day for me again.
Again,
Mitchie B. So our front row, I'd say, wins that battle. which is great.
100%, bro. 100%. We're talking about New South Wales representative and Australian representative prop forward. So incredible year last year from Mitch Barnett, and him and Fisher Harris. I think they are night and day for me above Taniela Paseka and Josh Alloway.
There you go, man. That would be a good little front row unit there with Fish, Travojevic, and Barnett. Man, that would, if we had Travojevic at the Warriors this year, that would have been a nice little combo there. Jakey would have done well. Jakey would have done well with us. Okay, now we're going into hooker, and it's Jazzy. I never thought we'd see this matchup: Jazz versus Egan. Oh my goodness! And credit to Jazzy, he's done well. He's done well within his scope of what he's able to do. And crazy for Seabold to trust him. You know, you think Seabold would have got someone like Jazz purely for just hit ups and runs, but no, he's put Jazz in control. I mean, he's got good halves, and he's got Jakey there calling things, so it's quite easy for him. But you know, I think Wade's looking healthy. He's looking good, moving well. Just the team around him hasn't really supported him. So I think it's a little bit unfair. But based on skill and talent, Wade all day. You're of the same mindset, obviously.
100%, brother. 100%. Yeah, this one's a little bit of distance as well. I think what Jazzy obviously does well, as we know with New Zealand Warriors, he's got a ton of heart, a ton of energy in the middle. Defensively, he's definitely a really key piece there for the Manly Seagulls. He had a flat track for me in that first game against the Cowboys, which, you know, I think a lot of, you know, basement type hookers would look fairly good in that game overall when you're feeding the ball to DC and that, but still a great performance from Jazzy there. Good defensive performance overall as well. But hopefully if we can put him on the back foot, we can see the reason why we didn't like running Jazz Tavanga in that hooker role.
Yeah. And speaking of Jazz, he's doing well. I was watching a bit of tape and I was thinking, it'd be good to get isolate Jazz sometimes. When he's kind of moving, like I saw some opportunities on the short side where you can get Hamole in the tackle and then Jazz goes over and you can attack short side. So, like I said, I think Hamole is definitely one as well. That left side or their right side defense is definitely one I would try and attack as well.
100%.
Maybe look for Jazz in the line a little bit too as well, and some things like that. But yeah, definitely got to go with Egan there. Okay, we'll move into the back row now. We'll go left side, Capewell versus Ben Travojevic. Who have you got in that battle?
I've got Kurt Capewell, and I think that might be controversial for a lot there, but I think obviously the representative ability that Kurt Capewell has, and when he plays his best football, I think that he's at the moment the better player out of the two. But Ben Travojevic is still young to his first grade career. He's had moments where he's been dropped in and out of first grade, so it will take time for him, but he's definitely got a lot of ability. So at the moment, I've got Kurt Capewell, but Ben Travojevic is not that far behind at the moment.
Yeah, Ben's a definite talent, but yeah, he goes well when everyone else is going well. And look, it is a tight battle. Look, we can't say that Capewell had a great game, but yeah, based on that potential, he would be. We'll give it to Capewell in this situation here. Now on the right side, Haumole Olokwatu versus New Kore. A little bit of night and day in this battle currently as well. Definitely going Haumole. Any other thoughts, Ash?
No thoughts at all, brother. This is it's a big difference here. Haumole Olokwatu, just an incredible edge back row. I've already spoken enough about him, bro. He's a complete juggernaut, and I think he's just continuing to grow in his career. So I can't wait to see. Well, obviously, I don't want to see too much out of him this weekend, but over in the future of this NRL competition, I can't wait to see what he can produce and maybe get around that origin spot again.
Just quickly, P. Neles, thank you for becoming a channel member, man. Awesome to have so many members join us tonight, man. Appreciate you jumping on, man, and looking forward to spend some more time with you, my man. Thank you for joining. Great for everyone that's becoming channel members. Appreciate you guys. And I hope you enjoy the benefits of the membership. Yeah, it's easily. And he's definitely one we got to keep him quiet. If we can keep him quiet, big job for Capewell, actually, to kind of, and that whole side Pompey, all those guys to really do a number there. But look, man, based on this, it does look like our 4-pack is the more strong and experienced. You're just quickly going back to that point we've made from the start. Do you think that we will have it have their number a little bit on Friday night in terms of controlling the Middle East.
Yeah, I think the middle battle will probably be a lot better than what we had against the Canberra Raiders that have big, high velocity forwards that love to get forward. They find their front easy. They got incredible offloads. Manly's just their prop room for me has always been very hot and cold. And we've just known that from so much in the past. Taniela Paseka has probably some of the best ability of some prop forwards in the competition, but I still think that he just doesn't know his size yet. He still doesn't. He's just got, he's got to pick up that act. But in general, I think we have the ability to lock him down. Everyone knows the big worry about the Manly Seagulls is their spine and their back line against our team here. And I think that's what everyone's so worried about is, DC, we're talking Tom Trbojevic, and then off the back of that, Ola Kawatu. So that's the real big worry for me. I think our other edge with Luke Brooks and that, I think we can contend on that side fairly well. Just that opposite side where DC is, they have put so much ball down that edge, and it's so hard to defend because as you saw when you did your breakdowns on Instagram, guys, go check out Wise Up TV on Instagram for LeBron's breakdowns. Incredible. But they run things in certain different spots that other teams don't. They play their short sides really well in tight corridors, and they just run so many players down that little section in many different angles where it's so hard to keep track of where they're going to go, especially going to run Ola Kawatu at someone. You want to put numbers on Ola Kawatu, and that creates so much space for their outside men. So
No, Peter, thank you very much, my friend. Wow, yeah. Your finger triggers, your trigger finger is happening on the button. We appreciate it. We love it. Love your guys' content, brothers. I'm a huge Waz fan since 2011. So awesome to come across your page. Keep smashing it. Thank you very much. We truly appreciate every donation that comes in. It helps us, to continue to provide the best content we can. We try our best every week to provide the best for everyone, and we appreciate this. So thank you, Norpeter. Are you from up north? We know a few Norpeters from my family from the Mangamuka. I'm not sure if it's the same Norpeter, but if it is, tēnā koe te whanaunga. But yes, thank you, my friend. We appreciate you very, very much. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Okay.
Awesome. Amazing.
Let's get now into this bench. Now we choose our best four across the team. Now let's just quickly name. So we've got Dylan Walker, Jackson Ford, Dimitri Vaimaunga, and Leka Halasima on our side. Then they've got Jake Simpkin, Corey Waddell, Ethan Bullymore, and Tuafuafa Sipley. It's a good little battle there. You'd probably say the Manly guys have got better forwards currently. I mean, Dimitri and Leka, I think they're not quite there yet, but Bullymore had a good game last week. Dylan Walker, for me, always makes it in on the bench. Which way are you swaying, Ash? And who have you got on your bench currently?
So we'll put in a non-negotiable. We have Dylan Walker definitely in that 14 jersey. I think, the Manly Seagulls would love to still have him at the club as well, especially playing the football that he has right now. But, we're very lucky to have someone like him at the club currently. Then looking on the other side of things, I think Ethan Bullymore and Toff Sipley will probably have to find a spot on our bench. I think both those guys have great ability. Toff is just really hard to handle and tired forwards in the middle because he's such a big body. And Ethan Bullymore, I think, is one of the most underrated middle forwards in the competition, especially coming off the Manly's bench. Very good, bro. Very good footwork. He's got lightning speed for a decent sized body in the middle, and should have had a double last week against the Cowboys. He'd be with DC doing the old chip and chase. He was right on the inside. He should have been going over for a double. So those are my two there. And last one, because Corey Waddell's an okay player, like a decent player. It's tough, man. I think Dimitri Vaimaunga and Leka Halasima both have incredible ability, but I'm going to pull those two out of the lineup for a little bit because they're just tussing first grade right now. I'm going to go Jackson Ford over Corey Waddell. I think Jackson Ford is a better player than Corey Waddell.
Okay. That's pretty good. Okay, guys. Let me just get that there. That makes up your team for this weekend of Combined 17. Hopefully you guys can see all of those. Yep, cool. Let me just bring the bottom guys up. It does cut off Egan's head a little bit, but that looks pretty good right there. let's just count it up: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. To the Manly players to R7, I'd say. We look, I mean, backline just is lethal and expected to be with the quality of talent they currently have. Maybe, if Dallin comes back in, you might get another argument there. So there's a few things, but you got to give credit to Manly. We won the propping battle, which is huge, and I expect a big game from Fish and Barnett. Obviously Olukwatu and Jake, massive in there. But a little bit of a weakness with them with Tavanga. We got Egan in there. Capewell does make it in over a youthful. What's the brother's name? I forgot his name. But yeah,
Ben Trebojevic.
So yeah, expecting a big game from Capewell, especially dealing on that side. And then bench wise, yeah, two big forwards. That's another little area we're gonna have to deal with those two. Bullimore's playing really well at the moment, but Dills Walker and his experience with Jacko 4 rounding it out. Yeah, you happy with that? I think that's pretty fair, I'd say. Yep, I think we've been pretty decent here.
Looks pretty good there, yeah, very solid. The only way I would change anything in this is to put a new Warrior player in there, is take out Lukey Brooks and put Luke Metcalf in that 6 jersey. That's the only other thing I would change. But that halves pairing, that Luke Brooks and DC, they're definitely worthy of those roles there, and they're the big worry on us in general, is 2 experienced halves that have played that system for the last 2 years. They've been in that system, it's settled. No one's going to take their halves jersey off them. Where on our end, our boys have been mixing and matching in the offseason who's going to be the halfback to start the season. So that's the difference of what we got. These guys are going to be a lot more settled than us. We're going to take a little bit more time before we play our best football, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's still very much they're in a position of strength and consistency, and the teams that are currently very solid on their spine and have been for a little while, they're pretty much the teams that are doing well or won on the weekend. So yeah, we're in that. We got to accept that, people. We are in a transition. Even the fans of Metcalf or CHT, you got to accept. We want them to be successful, but there's going to be growing pains, and so that's the current space we're in right now, transitioning. Whereas Manly, you can see they've got their nucleus there, and so I would put them as favourites to go in, but I expect a lot better performance from our boys, and we're going to get into that too right now, guys. But anyway, let's just go back here. Score prediction, man. We're at that time of the day. I appreciate everyone in the chat. Sorry I haven't pulled up much comments, but I know you guys are in there talking amongst yourselves. But score prediction, after all of our evaluation, what we expect from our players, what do you think is going to be your score line? How do you think the game will go? And what are you looking for? And how do we get on top of Manly? How can we compete? How can we potentially win? Those are some of the things I want to throw back to you and get your thoughts.
Yeah, 100%. You already knew my thoughts coming into this when we did all our season previews and that. This was always a game that I read off as a loss for us. After Vegas, I definitely want to see a game where we're going to come in and put all our effort on the line. But I do understand that even with our best efforts in this game, we could definitely still come away with the loss overall. So I hope fans are willing to know that this game is a very hard one for us. If I'm going the more positive side of things, I think that we have the ability to keep this a 1-12 contest with I think with Fisher Harris and Barnett taking this, having a bee under their bonnet and really want to take it against this forward pack. I'm probably going to sway a 24-14 game. The Manly Seagulls maybe getting over our boys over there. Unfortunately, I don't like saying that, right? I want to have, high positivity. If we do show out and do show ability, there is a possibility we can come away with a win. But more times than not in the moment, just looking at how Manly are going, there's all the ability in the world for Manly to get a win over us over in Auckland. So just understand, guys, it's going to take time. But what we want to see out there, obviously, is our forward pack getting in there, getting amongst it, and just a little bit more better, better moments from our halves connecting and really laying down points on the field instead of going sideways. So Just think of it that way, guys. Don't look at us and go, oh my God, the guy's getting blown out, whatever. Look at all the little things that we're growing in each area, and our best football will come in time. So just understand that.
Going off the old Shannon Sharp, you have an eagle, you can have a beagle, you have a regal. Wise by 4. I like that. I like that.
I love that,
The old
brother.
Lakers in 5. I like that. Wise by 4. That's a good one, T Mackie. T Mackie, you put one of those in every week for your predictions. Give us a little bit of that Shannon Sharp rhyming. I love it. I love it. Yeah, going back to it, man. I agree. It's 1 to 12. Manly probably off the top. Just the experience and key moments. But that's not to say that we can't get a win here. But it requires us to, better performances from all of our players. Back 5 will have to have a big game. But look, let's work towards our strengths. Let's again, me and you have been big on consistency. Get like 30 points is unacceptable. I could probably accept 24 against a red hot Manly team with amazing, speed and talent across the park. So, but 30 is unacceptable for any game. Would like to see it at 18. Like to see it a tough fought game. But look for the little things. Look for the positives. Like going into halftime with a lead would be great. Things like that where you're seeing good periods of play. I think those are kind of things I'm looking for as well. But you would, the bookies and everyone would have Manly ahead, especially based on their performance. But I'd love to 100%. See us compete position-wise, field position, pin them down, really make it difficult for them. They love space. They'll eat up space. If you give them room, they will chew it up. Let's try and limit that. How can we effectively, limit that? Maybe Pompey and that need to gamble a few times. When we get, because Manly, they love a passive line, and if they get you caught sitting on a read, that they will punish. So there might have to be 100%. A few times you might have to take a few risks, both go together, you and RTS. So there's a few things, but it's not out of the realms of possibility. And at home, especially the start of the year, we need, and who knows, Webby maybe instead of Webby going, dropping guys, he's gone in hard on video sessions. He's doing internal, stuff to help rectify this. We will see on Friday, and hopefully we see that for sure. But yeah,
I think it would be a good showing, bro. I think that the embarrassment of what happened in Vegas, right? I think that Fisher Harris obviously coming out in midweek and saying that this is going to feel like more of a debut than Vegas ever did. So I'm obviously sure he's going to come out with a big game. And I think, defensively, the things I want to see is, with Manly, obviously the Cowboys gave DC and that so much time over the weekend for him to wheel and deal and allow him to do so many different things, right? There was no real inside pressure. If you look at you listen to Levels podcast, Willie Mason's so big on it, and it is a definite thing that Fisher Harris does so well comparatively to any other prop in the competition. But our middle forwards have got to put inside pressure on DC and allow him to play the ball earlier than what he actually does. If you allow him to get into the line too close, too deep, and play to Olakau'atu, then we're going to be in big trouble. If we get him to play early to Tom Trbojevic and slide off earlier, then we can defend a lot of their shape. So that all comes from the middle, and everything is going to be hopefully won from the middle. So if we're going to win this game, it really is up to our middle forwards and our edge back rollers combining like a strong fortress and really taking out DC and cutting down a lot of his time, which is definitely easier said than done.
Bro, Lexi getting in on action. We could win, we could lose, but no need to abuse when you're a couch coach without a clue. Wales by 6.
But I love this man, man. So I love this community. I
love it. Everyone's got I'm going to start using that, bro. Oh, man, let's go. You've seen that one in Shannon Sharp? He's like OKC, UFC, KFC, Lakers in 5.
Lakers in 5.
Oh, he's funny.
Good old Unk.
Good old Unk. He's good for content, bro. Unk, crack up.
100%.
Okay, guys. Yeah, for me, it's either a 1 to 12 for Manly, or it's a close one. But 1 to 6 for us. But mate, let's get there and let's get behind our boys big time. Everyone that's going to the game, start the year off with a bang. Hopefully our boys show the faith and repay it and improve and make those amendments. So, should be a good one there, guys.
Completely agree.
Cool, guys. We are going to move now into New South Wales Cup. We got to see a pretty stacked New South Wales Cup squad come up last week against the Raiders, and it was a good little battle, good little tussle. In the end, we got over the line, which was great to see. It was good to see just a team performance that fought through and got over the line. I was impressed a lot with a lot of players. MGT thought played a great game. Laban worked well and worked hard and had some great runs. Boyd looked really, really good, really solid. And if Webby needs to dip into that depth, he can. Tamaiti again found his feet. Him and Boyd kind of got a little bit of control in the second half. Healy looked good for me too. But yeah, let me what was your thoughts on the game? And if you had a chance, I know you might not have got to see everything, but what's your thoughts from what you did see about the New South Wales Cup performance?
No, I'm 100% grateful, bro. I end up finding having power in this period. So I end up watching this full game, and I've watched it back over again, especially running through some tape of how our halves went. And I completely agree. I did think that at the start of the game, we were a little bit clunky. I think that it's going to be similar to what our first grade squad is going to be. And I go back to, I've said this multiple times, but I think that we're going to have to think. I think Webby gave it a little bit more of a fight in that halfback jersey than a lot of us maybe gave credit for. Like I came in the offseason, I'll put my hands up. I was going to be Luke Metcalf, Tamaiti Martin for sure, and that's going to be how it's going to be. But I actually do think that Tanner Boyd and Chanel Harris-Tavita obviously gave it a red hot crack, and that I think we had mixing and matching in our halves. So I think it showed in our first grade debut, and it also showed in New South Wales Cup, because I did think that Sam Healy was trying to use Tamaiti Martin. Tamaiti's talk was incredible. It took a little bit before both those boys combined. But come the second half, as soon as they started combined, it started to look really, really good. Like, Tanner Boyd, he didn't get his voice till the second half, but as soon as he did, that's when we started to get a roll on. He put a couple of nice kicks in for tries. Tamaiti Martin used off that double lead shape, which is something we've been missing for a little bit now. The real direct nice shape. You touched on it in Instagram, so really good to see a lot of good moments there. Other big names, obviously, as you said, Jacob Laban, incredible game. 9 tackle breaks in that game, 110 meters on the edge. I love how they played it back through the middle as well. I do think, again, we go back to, there's going to be guys getting highlighted in our first grade squad, and the senior players we touched on before. I think Marata Niokore is definitely being highlighted at the moment. He needs to have a big couple of games going into the bye period because Jacob Laban and Leka Alasima are both chasing really hard, and they've both got incredible ability too. So incredible games from all those guys, and sneaky ones too. I thought Tanner Stowers-Smith had a really good stint off the bench, which is great to see. Bro, he's a guy I've been waiting to see this for a little while. And shout out to Toby Crosby holding a bench role there. He had a solid little stint out there as well. So good to see a lot of boys there. You're probably going to touch on Tom Ali and Bunty Afar, both looking really, really strong as well. So good to see.
Crosby looks good. I mean, he can hold his own. He looks not out of place. And excited to see how where he ends up. Yeah, Tom was great as well. Bunty. I mean, it's a good squad. And will be good to watch. I think they'll have some good games based on their level, and so those games. I think everyone, if you get Bar Sports TV, get onto that. I'm not sure how it works. I know some cup games are picked up by Sky Sports. I know a lot of people have been asking me too. Where to watch it? Go get Bar Sports TV if you want. That gives you all the junior developments, but some of them might be on Sky as well, dependent. So I'm not sure how that will work.
And before we move on too, bro, I want people to understand, the team we went up against, the Canberra Raiders have been a competitive New South Wales Cup side for the last couple of years, especially now that Ricky Stewart's brought a lot of juniors over. That's the reason that the Raiders are going more junior based now underneath, so they brought a lot of the best juniors in the competition. So we went up against Chevy Stewart at fullback. In the halves, they had Ethan Sanders, Adam Cook. In the back line, they had Michael Asamoah, Albert Hopewade. Both have had first grade spots there as well. Jet Stewart's played in first grade. And then the forward pack we had to contend with out there in the weekend, they had Miles Martin, Noah Martin. A lot of people that know junior bases know they're both incredible players. Denny Levi, first grade ability. And they had Pasami Solo, Trey Mooney. So they had a lot of really, really solid first grade players out there, first grade ability type players in this game. So we were matching it with those guys, especially with the names we had in our lineup. And it's good to see we get a good hard fought win to start off our season in New South Wales Cup.
Yeah, it was good. And just quick shout out to, I know you'll talk about it a bit more with Berry as well. A good first 40 from him and looked at physical good shape. I think they're going to just roll out with him and maybe do another 40. Could do an 80 this week. I'm not too sure. But there was one run. He made a recovery run to get a guy, and it was the speed was still there. So you can tell it was just a shoulder injury. It looks a bit bigger up the top too, a bit more barrel chested. Looks a little bit more physical. But grassing tackles were great too. You know, he's still got all the elements we love about him. And so, yeah, looking forward to seeing how he progresses and could be a look in round 3 or 4. Don't
100%.
Yeah, so keep an eye on that, guys. Yes. Now just transitioning, man, to the Jersey Flag. SG Ball, Harold Metz. I saw a bit of the Jersey Flag. Really poor game from them. Got out of control or lost control. What do you make of their performance? I think it was 50-10 or 12 against the Raiders. Jersey Flag. A lot. I mean, there was a period though there where it was competitive, and then it just got away from them. But what do you make of that, the Jersey Flag boys?
Yeah, so we went into halftime there, 16-4, and then it just blew out really badly late. I think Jet Cleary went down with injury in this game, or he got pulled off. It did look like he was starting to get targeted. I didn't get to watch the full game. This is where my power outages started to happen, which is really unfortunate. Luckily, I got it back in the New South Wales Cup game. But from what I did see, just a lot of really bad errors in this game. It does look like it's going to take a little bit of time before these young guys get accustomed to each other. This is under 21s too, so we do hope for them to be a little bit better than our SG Ball in that. But, you know, first game of the season doesn't look that great. But this is the thing. They got to grow from this. Luke Hansen still looked fairly strong in that grade, but there was really barely too many names. So I wanted to point out they're having great games. The other name I really want to continue to look out for, though, is this center Potoko.
Yeah. He looked good.
Great footwork, bro. Come from the Gold Coast Titans system, but they nicked him from rugby union. If you go follow the Warriorholics sort of look, he had him out there. He showed a couple of highlights of him. He's definitely someone to continue to look out for the future as well. So, bad first loss, but we can only go up from here, right?
Yeah, bad loss again. These are the developments about learning and growth, and I think everyone was expecting a lot from Jet early on. I think he's still gonna, obviously take time. Him and Hansen there. So give it time. Let them develop. We'll track it as we go. You're just hoping for better performances as they go along. But look, it's a long season as well. I think Jersey Flag's 24 rounds as well, isn't it? So it's like it's really the beginning of your professional career. Jersey Flag. So you got to learn how to play a full season of footy, and hopefully we start to see some progress. But that centre looked good. Good speed. Yeah, just really, I like the look of him. I really do.
I think just quickly too, for anyone that's still calling out Jet Cleary to be our number 7 or anything like that, I don't think that's happening anymore. But if there's anyone out there, please understand it's going to take a bit of time. It's going to take.
You still see it in the comment sections. Put Jet. I bet you with the team list section on Instagram, someone said put Jet Cleary, and I swear some of our fans are. Yeah. I won't say that. They see the name Cleary and it means start straight away. So.
It does look like in that grade, though, they are targeting him because of his name. It does look like that.
Yeah, and he will get a lot.
He will get targeted. But this is the thing that's going to help him in the future, right?
Yeah, I definitely think so. Just quickly over to the SG Ball. I didn't get to catch these games, but I know you saw most of them, Ash.
I did, yeah.
Any standouts from the SG Balls and Harold Metz? I know, unfortunately, I saw the SG Ball again. They fortunately lost. It's not great. Again, just falling short again. But yeah, just what are your thoughts on those games and who are the standouts for you?
To be fair, in the SG Ball game, the Magpies were the more dominant side overall. They scored 5 tries on us. We only scored 3, but unfortunately they couldn't get their kicking boot on. They missed majority of their conversions, but it was still good to see our SG Ball boys hold into that contest. There's still a lot more ability in those boys there, I do believe, but just unfortunately just not coming together as a group. Very individualized. A lot of bad errors that they have in their lineup as well at the moment, but still all of the names that we know and love that we've been pointing out for a little while now. I think obviously Noah Jensen, I've been really enjoying a lot of his football. Joseph Ratcliffe, good to see him back playing footy now at SG Ball. He was at Harold Metz fullback that won the premiership last year. He was really, really solid. And Kahu Kappa, he's still playing on the edge back role. I prefer him at center, but I understand why they're kind of putting him in this position. He's still got a ton of ability. Like, you can definitely see it on him, but I think obviously it's going to take time for him to grow in that role. And maybe we'll see him in flag be in that center position, and we'll see his proper ability when he goes up the ranks, in my opinion.
Yep. And Harold Metz, I know they had a great win as well. and the standouts in that one?
They have been incredible, bro. This Harold Matt side, again, is looking really, really good, and a lot of names to take out of this lineup. 34-10 against the Magpies, 6 tries to 2. A real dominant performance and great defensive performance as well, even with a sin bin to Lucien Michele in this game in the 10-minute mark. So a really, really solid performance. I'm really high on a lot of these guys here. Jeremiah Lamana, the fullback's got a ton of speed, a ton of potential. I thought that just across the park, like Lucien Michele, even though due to Simbin, as he still looks like just this kid that's a man amongst boys at the moment. We got this new kid, this number 11, Fretzen, Asolele Fretzen. He's a new edge back rower that I haven't seen before. He looks really talented. If you follow the short balls content on Instagram too, guys, he was very high on him as well. And I really love that his eye on the football, on a lot of great talent coming up. But he definitely pointed out our captain in that grade, Tyson Hansen, was probably his best game that I've seen him play, but he's played a lot of great games in Harold Matts. He's looking unbelievable. He's leading the boys around really well. So it's great to see. And a guy that's really stepped up for me, and I think has been absolutely incredible. I'd missed him in the first game. For the last couple of games, I've been like, this kid's incredible. Ronan Byford. I've really enjoyed Ronan Byford's game.
Yep.
He reminds me a lot of what I saw out of Tanner Smith early in SG Ball. And he's got a lot of ability. So very keen on him. And the last name that you just threw out there, Bishop Neal. This kid just, like, he's a battering ram. We're playing him off the bench at the moment, which is fairly interesting, but I kind of understand it. As soon as he comes on with tired bodies, he's just he's a man amongst boys. So continue to watch this kid's development. He's definitely someone for the future. But those are the names that are really stepping up for me in Harold Matts that I've been really enjoying.
Yeah, the boys are doing really well in the Harold Matts, and good to see that. And we're hoping as well that the other boys, Flegg didn't get off to a great start, and we're wishing them the best. Hopefully, get back into this coming week, and the SG Ball boys, just not quite there yet, but it's all good learnings, and this is what it's all about. So, no, very nice, guys. That's all of our topics tonight. Have we missed anything, Ash? We're pretty good. We're ready to.
No, that's pretty much it for me. But yeah, if anyone's got any questions before we go, let them know. But I think obviously the only thing that we have seen out there, Dallin is still set to return round 10, so we won't see him for a little bit. That was a little update on that. And yeah, just stay solid, guys. Understand that this year is just a year that we are looking to learn and to build as a club again. We aren't what we were in 2023 right now. So it's going to take time before we get back to a level like that again, especially with experienced members. So allow Luke Metcalf to learn his game. He's going to have up and downs this year, but we got to ride with these kids, and hopefully they can step up against the Manly Seagulls this weekend. Yeah,
we will. And thank you to all of our super chats. Norpeter, we massive appreciate you, brother. Thank you for 100%. That beautiful one. Levon James, welcome in, my man. And Pinellas, I know you both have been around the traps as well, and we're great to have you in. Whanonga here, Inspector there. Your family from Mangamuka, man. Awesome, yep. Ooh. So you might be related to Fisher Harris too, bro, because he's from Mangamuka as well. So a lot of the Harrises up there, Tohu, I think it's Chanel. All the Harris, the Māori Harrises are from up Mangamuka. So up the Hati, the north, brother. It's always good to see the whānau from up those ways. And Tans, are you doing watch? Yes, we will be. We're back here, guys, on Friday. Ash unfortunately can't make it, but no doubt he'll share his thoughts over 100%. The weekend at some point. But you guys come in for that on Friday night. Start about 7:45. And then we'll go right through, and even after the show, just to get some post-match thoughts for all of our members as well. If you do want to jump in for the post-match, we will send the link out. Might be a good time to share your thoughts. But yeah, we'll be here for that, guys. And obviously, we've got our little videos that we cut up. We'll cut up this content throughout the week just to keep you full on Warriors content. Leave your comments 100%. In. A lot of good chat in the comments. And so we appreciate everyone. We do try to respond as much as we can. Just quickly going to throw it back to you, Ash. Your show, you got a show on tomorrow night?
Yes. So me and Brody got a show on tomorrow night. Down Unders, tune in on Ash Thomas on YouTube, guys, and also on Thursday for all you super coaches. And there's a lot of yous in the WhatsApp chat. Jump over on Thursday night. We'll be talking about trades and that coming this week. And also, don't rage trade, guys. Don't rage trade. Just take it easy, be patient, and allow things to grow. That's my big sentiment to the whole show, right?
Yeah. And look, I got to give credit back to Ash. My team did come up a little bit. So I'm sitting around 12th now. I was down to 18th. I was down the bottom of the ladder. I'm back in the middle park. So I'm happy. I'm actually happy. So 10 tenors, thank you very much. Appreciate your guidance. Now I am going to rage trade. Nah, I'm just kidding. I don't even know what I'm going to do. I've got to start doing some stuff, though. I don't know what I'm going to do. I just saw.
We got to get rid of Kelma Tuolangi, bro. We got to get rid of him straight
away. Tuolangi just got dropped. Riles just went on a rage quit and has dropped Tuolangi. So I got to make some changes up. But guys, coming for that tomorrow night with Ash and Brody. What time was it again? Sorry, I just missed that.
So Australian time over here tomorrow night will be 4:30 p.m. in the afternoon.
7:30.
So that will be 7:30 over there in New Zealand time, and also 5 p.m. over here in Australia for Thursday night, which would be 8 p.m. 8 p.m. In New Zealand time. So tune in for both those guys over there, and also jump in the chat because there's a live show. Come chat with us and give us your thoughts overall too.
Yeah, and guys, checking for all the Super Coach stuff. It's also, I'm just getting into it. I'm actually really enjoying it at the moment. So learning a lot. And I drop in as well and just have a listen to what suggestions they make. So guys, pop in there. Shout out to Josh. Yeah, unfortunately couldn't make it in. Good to see you, brother. Catch up on the replay if you can. But good to see you, man. And
good to see you.
Yep. Everyone else, jump in for Ash's show tomorrow night as well. Appreciate everyone. Thank you for all the support. We will catch you guys later. Stay safe. See you guys on Friday. Up the wires, as always.
Up the wires.
We'll catch you out. Peace.
You.